Hello and welcome. Hello, beautiful. And by the way, Becca, that should work tomorrow. I'm just going to wait and see. I'm just waiting to talk to my parents because of what's happening with my uncle. And they're at the hospital right now. So once I see what is happening, then I will definitely let you know about tomorrow. But I do feel that it's going to be perfectly fine at that time. It should definitely be good. So, but if not, I saw the other dates and stuff that you listed, and we'll definitely get it in here in the next few days to a week or so. If just in case tomorrow doesn't work out. So, but I will for sure let you know. Try to get this to where I can get some heat, but it's not like directly on me. Yeah, that's good right there. So just giving everyone a moment to dial in. Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, wherever you are. Welcome. And Becca, I will let you know about the one-on-one, hopefully within the next hour or so. Well, actually, it'll be longer than that because we're going to be here for a little while, but I will let you know soon. So I do feel that we'll be able to get the one-on-one in tomorrow. So thank you. Welcome, everyone. Sending everyone unconditional love and acceptance. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for receiving. If you are new to this channel, my name is Awasi. And I thank you for choosing to join and receive. If you are new, as someone that channels from the higher self and that brings through higher self reflections, when I begin to move higher in consciousness, if you're not used to witnessing something like that, it could be a little bit different. It could be a little bit odd. But it is the process in which I atone myself to a higher space of receiving myself. And if you would like to receive in that space, then you can follow along with the sounds and the feeling. And this will allow you to meet yourself as high as you're able in your highest self connection. Now, for some, that will be higher ranges of consciousness. If you practice and work with energy to any degree, then you're aware of your own energy field. You're aware of your experiences. You're aware of, actually, you could be aware of a multitude of energy fields because reality is a multitude of layers. But one of the things about reality that we tend to have a slight misconception on is that we live in reality or in a reality, just like we are born into the planet. But this is not the case, because you can't live in a reality that is physical material, because material is an animated state. It's a state that is very slow vibrational. So you actually are the reality. You are reality. And everything that you see around you is you. It's your creation. And this can be difficult for some, especially if they live in suffering, if they live in a war zone, if they have ever gone through extreme trauma. And I have. So I'm not speaking from a space of someone that, just preaches love and light and BS or something to that degree. I'm not speaking from a form of opinion. I don't form opinions, at least not in this regard. I have, but from where I have understood everything that I express now, I'm actually living it. I'm experiencing it. And I have come from a space of being completely asleep and devastated by trauma. And I've had someone attempt to kill me before. I've come from a space that knows the shadow extremely well. And where I speak from now also understands that there is always something more than what we think we know. And what we think we know is what is the death of the mind. It's usually these little, we'll call them realities for the sake of making it easy. But these templates of experience, I've had a lot clearing in preparation for this today. These templates of design are templates or pockets of experience. So let's say, okay, you're the blueprint. You come energetically into a space of animation. And as the blueprint, your blueprint carries everything by design that you need to experience. And because you come with everything that you need to experience, you have everything that you need already. But it's under a multitude of layers of perceived trauma, perceived suffering, perceived forgetting. Just like there is a perception of reincarnation, which is also illusion, there's a perception of death, the body dying, also illusion. Everything in the reality that you experience is by design a dichotomy of a multitude of illusions. And this is intentional, of course, because you come here for a very, very finite amount of perceived time. Now, time is not external. Yes, you have dates on a calendar, you have night and day, you have the sun, you have the moon, you see things moving in your external reality. But is it really moving? Is that really time? How do we measure it? We think we know how we measure it because we have a calendar. We think we know how we measure it because we have a clock. We think we know how we measure it because we have day, night, month, year. But those are cycles of energy. Just like you have cycles on a washing machine, there's cycles. It moves from one cycle to the next, but it's the same energy that's always in motion. It just appears to change externally from you, but it's not really. Time is an internal perception. It happens moment to moment. And you actually don't reincarnate. You extend that little finite amount of energy into an animated organic body to experience something that you've already experienced, but to experience it slightly different. And it's the perception of reincarnation so that you can, during that finite amount of time, pretend that you have lived multiple lives, that you have lived past, and that you will live future. But you only live right now, and everything is happening right now. Everything. Your past, it's right now. It's happening right now. You are actually experiencing yourself in your past right now. You're actually experiencing your future right now. And I know most people are kind of aware of this by now, especially when it comes to like the laws of attraction and speaking in about manifestation. But a lot of people also have the law of attraction. So there's some slight points there that I would like to speak into that I do not normally see or hear anyone speak into. So the main thing about the law of attraction is that your signature resonance already brings everything to you. You don't have to try. You don't have to focus any extra energy. Anything that is necessary and needed by you and for you, you have already designed it. It already exists. All you have to do is become aware of it. That's it. That's all. You become aware of it. It pings vibrationally, energetically. It is already there. Now, of course, your signature resonance is also layered with a multitude of belief systems, opinions that you have formed, dialogues of thought, conversations that you have in your head in relation to yourself and other people. There's a multitude of things that are happening that carry specific tones because everything is sound and everything is light. And because light travels faster than sound, usually by the time we are aware of something that we desire, we are thinking about it a lot. And the energy that is focalizing the experience is emotion, not light. Light's a little bit different than an identified emotion. So a lot of people end up using identified emotion as the catalyst to manifest whatever it is they want to attract. But there's a little of a kicker there that the emotion that you identify with can be what you think it is, or it might not be what you think it is. Because energetically, everything just is. But you have a perception about what you think it is. And that's where the mind creates the animated reality. It doesn't necessarily mean that it's going to be what you want or what you, let's say it'll probably be what you think you want, but it won't be what it is that you need. So it's a lot of people become really, really consumed with wanting to need, or let's say needing to want something material. They need this, they want it, they have to have it, they need to manifest it, they want to manifest it, they have to manifest it, which actually weighs down the law of attraction pretty heavily. Welcome, Mina. So grateful you could join, my dear. And quite literally, because you attract that which you are, if you're not aware of all that you are, then you're automatically going to be attracting what you need and that which you say you never wanted, because everything that you don't want is also everything that you're going to attract. Because anything that exists in your system, your energetic bodies, they're going to automatically come to you. Everything is going to come to you because first and foremost, your subconscious doesn't judge. It's just simply a processor of information. So at any point, if you've had any thought, your subconscious takes a hold of it, files it away as information, and it's going to be presented back to you at some point in time. And so this is where most people get really, really caught up in, like, why am I constantly thinking about this? Why is this constantly coming up? Well, at one point in time, you've thought about it, or you've created the thought, you've placed the thought there, and you've become aware of it. And you had yet learned how to let go energetically of your own process and that which you are aware of, your own process of creation. So the reason why I'm leading in with all of this is I'm dropping in a lot of stuff here that I know people are aware of, very much. It's basically setting the stage. It's a precursor of everything that's coming as we rise higher. So energetically, vibrationally, as you're attracting everything that you are, everything that you desire, everything that you want, you are also attracting everything that you do not desire, everything that you do not want, and everything that you cannot stand. The things that you focus on, that you judge, you will attract. The things that you focus on that you do not like, you will attract. This is a part of the polarity. It's the part of the law of attraction. You just attract that which you are. And the key to this is most people are simply focused on an outcome. They want to design something that they really, really, really like, that they really, really, really want. The bull with all the designs and all the experiences. Most people go into these paradigms that are constructed with archetypes, and the archetypes are shells. These archetypal shells are part of the mother, father, child, boyfriend, girlfriend, husband, wife, child, husband, husband, wife, God, goddess Isis, Ra. These are all archetypes. The reason why is because the God and goddess archetype is very, very similar to mother, father, brother, sister. It is simply a different name. Okay. Just like if someone were to ask you, who are you? You would probably tell them your name, or you tell them that you're a mother or a daughter or a father or a son, but you're none of those things. Those are archetypes, and you are not your name. You're not your identity. You are simply an expression of animated energy. And the identity that you place upon that animated that animated image is what you identify with, and that would be the archetype. And so a lot of people get really, really connected into the archetypes of Isis, Ra, Mary Magdalene. Again, Mother Mary, mother archetype, Yeshua, father, son, and child. So Yeshua is a triad of archetypes. It's also where a lot of people get the triad in relation to Yeshua. Mother Mary, Mary Magdalene, again, she is a duality archetype, duality meaning daughter and wife. So we see that these are all playing out. These are roles, okay? But a lot of times people get really, really, really consumed in the roles, and the roles are a part of layers that are being played within the veil. It is not the full reality, because the reality is you, but you are also not an identity, and yet you are. You're not just an identity, but that's the role that you're playing. So when you're playing the role, you're in an archetypal reality, and you are connected to a set of belief systems which correlates you to the accompanying design or template. And that template holds a very specific energetic sequence of experiences. Everything, even on a DNA scale, is numerical, vibrational numerical, and of course it was then translated into letters, but it's numerical sequencing. And numerical sequencing is what I would express as light, numerical sequencing. Everything is encoded, everything is already created. We simply just come in for the experience because we've already been here, and we're not creating a new earth, and we're not actually leaving an old earth, because they both exist simultaneous, and new earth is already created. There is already an ascended earth, and we don't have a job to do. We can, even if we go into these archetypal realities and we connect to the mother, the father, the goddess, the god, we are playing roles with ourselves, because we are creating based on what we believe those archetypes represent. The goddess Isis, or the god Ra, or the master Yeshua, or the master Mary, they came in just as we did, as an extension of a higher expression to experience and to bring through messages. But once they moved on energetically, they also knew that they did not have to reincarnate. They understood that, right? They were awakened and aware enough to understand that. So energetically, this is why they have not come back. Okay, it's not necessary. They got everything they needed from their incarnation or their experiences. So when we connect to them, we're connecting to them through an archetypal shell, which means we're not connecting to them, we're connecting to our perceived belief of them. Now, I know this will probably trigger some people, because many people feel very, very, very close to the masters, and very, very, very close to the gods, the goddesses, and so on and so forth. I'm not saying that they are not in existence. They exist within existence, as do we, because we are not in a reality, nor are they. We are reality as are they. We are all reality. We are all connected. We are all a part of the universal song. And they exist in correlation with that universal song, but they don't come as an image, because that image was merely a definition of their experience in this realm. So my invitation in relation to that is to allow yourself to just expand beyond what you think you know. Allow yourself to rise into the experience of receiving that goes beyond the way the mind processes. Just like right now, if you're listening to this, you're receiving it and you're processing information. You're downloading, you're receiving, you're processing the words, and you're correlating an opinion about what you think is being said. And if that's where it ends, well, that's where it ends. Because the ability to extend outwards and experience higher means that you rise, you expand, and you experience, which means you can take that information and you can bring it higher, you can call it into your awareness, and you can invite in the experience of what is being expressed. Instead of standing on the outside looking at it, attempting to understand it, you can go to that pocket of information and you can expand within it and you can hold an experience, which is something I'm definitely going to invite each of you to begin joining me in doing now. So I'm going to plan on going a little bit higher. I would invite you to close your eyes if you're not already. And moving from lower to higher. Expanding. Taking a moment to acclimate. And moving higher, expanding. Higher. Higher. Expanding in the tone, expanding in the range. And allowing in all that is here to accompany all that is being expressed. And I'm hearing to review the tongue or review the words. So maybe there were some things that were expressed and you were feeling a bit in defiance of, defending, resistant to, or judging. Maybe there was some confusion or a feeling of lack of understanding. The words hold the power of not only the perception, but of where the perception is viewing from. This is where the power comes. The power of the lower is a space where a conversation is held. You're just exchanging the words. There's very, very, very limited amounts of power or self-empowerment that happen, because in the lower, a conversation is exchanged through the perception that I am living in a world and I am living in a reality and I am connecting into a space with another person instead of connecting into the space within myself and exchanging within a higher space of connection, which does not happen in relation to viewing physical material. You cannot be viewing a physical material process like words on a screen or anything of that nature, even a video, and expect to hold a higher connection. It is impossible because your physical eyes are too busy cataloging everything and taking in information. But if you close your eyes, if you drop into the space of unexpected, if you drop into the space of unconditional acceptance, then there is no more focus on trying to figure something out or needing to catalog or trying to understand or forming an opinion. You are now in a space of continued expansiveness where time becomes suspended. Since time is an internal perception of what is happening around you, normally, true time would be the perception of what's happening through you. But most people are more aware of what's happening around them than they are with what's happening within them. So transcending from what's happening around you to what's happening within you and through you, and then moving higher. And all that's necessary is for you to simply accept and allow the connection. You are already there. You do not need to try to find it. But if there is a part of you that is weighing or judging, concerning, worrying, doubting, denying, all of those are blockers, and they're just layering more and more veil on top of your ability to receive. That's where you are then now in a reality, not existing as reality. Because when you're in a reality, things are happening to you, not through you. And the very interesting thing about this is we hear those words all the time. Most are not aware from a higher space of what that means. They're so aware of this reality, this paradigm, this paradox, where I must be focused on going somewhere, doing something, showing up for someone else, being present, having a conversation, having a partner, having a friend, having this, having that, having a trip, having a car. All of that is about having something. But all of that is in relation to energy, and you do not own energy. You are energy. So this physical material world that you're so focused on having, you're so focused on doing, it's an illusion. Because you don't actually do anything, and you don't have anything, because you don't actually own anything. You certainly don't own another person. You don't own an animal. You don't own a plant. You don't own a vehicle. You don't own any of it. But you do exist as it. You are the material. You are the matter that is within the material plane. You're the matter. You're the mental matter. That's exactly what you are. So everything that you become so concerned over, even, for instance, myself, when I was peeling an egg the other day, and it wasn't peeling the way that I wanted it to, I started to get frustrated, complaining about the type of egg that it was. I shouldn't have gotten this type of eggs, right? They never peel right. But that's a victim. I'm a victim because something's not going my way. This isn't working out. It never works out. It's never right, and it's the egg's fault. It's not my fault. The egg's not peeling correctly. Nothing I can do about it, which is not true. I am the egg. I live within the egg. I am. When you understand yourself as the God source self, the I am, it rises from root to crown. And when the I am rises from root to crown, it can see all as it is, and it understands itself as the God source because it sees itself as the God source in everything. I am not saying I am a God. No, I am saying I am the God source self. I am the self that is a source of God creation. And because I understand this, not just acknowledge what I think the meaning of that is, but I understand it because I can experience it through the connection and everything around me. Every person, even in my lower, is God source self, because every person in my lower is a reflection of me and is me. It's a God source self. Animals, God source self, all a reflection of me as me, my creation, my animation, because it is my material world. Now, when you begin to rise higher in the frameworks of reality, then you begin to rise higher in the form of creation. But again, that's where you're there too. You're in all forms of creation. You're in all layers of the reality and the template. You're in there in all of them. You're in there from the lower, you're there as the higher, you're there as the super. You're there in all of them. You exist nowhere else. Which means there is nothing in your reality, perceived reality, that should affect you. Nothing should affect you, because cause and effect is choice. not what happens to you. It is choice and then effect, just simply the effect of the choice. The effect of the choice is a vibrational or reverberation of the experience, which the experience is internal, not external. So therefore, nothing happens outside of you ever. It never has, it never will. And again, I know some of these things might seem repetitive, but we must make it clear that things are repetitive to give you an opportunity to perceive them differently, to experience them differently, and to rise higher into the connection point, which will allow a different experience of higher self. And now we would invite a rise higher. Taking an opportunity to connect in. And now opening the higher chords of consciousness, expanding. And inviting in all that is here to be received. Opening higher into the cord. We are here to reflect the collective oversoul. The collective oversoul are those of this receiving, both in this moment of time and space, and yet another moment of time and space, but is being perceived simultaneous to now. And we receive all that are here in this present now. We would invite you to take a moment and to anchor yourself. Notice we did not say ground, we said anchor. Anchoring is a slightly different experience. Grounding is feeling as if you are not steady and not balanced in your polarities. We would acknowledge in mind that in this space of rising higher, you are not only connected to the planet, but you are connected to the cosmos and the universe, which means grounding would be a planetary scale and a somewhat interdimensional plane of planetary connection. We would remind and allow and invite in a higher space of receiving the self, which can move higher through cosmic, planetary yet still, and universal. For your higher is cosmic plane, your super is universal plane. And in order to be able to ride the dimensional waves, the conscious waves, it is necessary to let yourself go. If you are trying to find or ground, you will seem somewhat disoriented and uncomfortable. Think if you were a surfer and you were going to ride the waves, you wouldn't be trying to find a place to plant your feet other than the board. It would make no sense to need the ground underneath you as well, for it already exists underneath you. You don't need to find it, for you're not there for that intention and purpose. It already exists beneath you. It is there supporting, just in a different way. The energies of the root, the energies of the planet are supporting, but they will now be shifting to a higher cosmic orbit, which means the support system is showing up in a different way with the unnecessarily, we won't say, let's not say unnecessary, but with the shift in necessity of operation. So one of the things that we have expressed on a social media post through this channel is a recognition of oversouls and the operation of oversouls. And oversouls, there's many, many oversouls operating on this plane at this time, as each and every person here has a total of 144 extensions of their higher selves anyways. And you have extensions that are directly correlated to the planet and those that are we'll say infiltrating through the higher self and the collection of the 11 other higher selves. Not only this, but you have your monad overseeing the higher self, you have the higher self overseeing you, and you are all of those combined. Now, because you can only perceive that which you are, we always invite in the journey of this experience as an opportunity to rediscover that which you are, but from a different plane and a different perception. Oversouls are constantly shifting because oversouls are directly correlated to either systems of belief, programmed, or chosen. Both, shall we say, are chosen, but the programs are what you are quote unquote born into, those which are given to you. The chosen ones are a little bit higher in structure. They hold a little bit of a higher design, and they offer a slightly higher template of experiential reality. But of course, as you all have heard, the reality is also an illusion because it is a hologram. Everything that is external from you in the physical material plane is operating in the basis of a hologram or a holographic experience. Now, the lower, denser forms of that would be a convolution of the pure hologram. We would like to offer an example. We have been expressing and experiencing and exchanging with those in the soul pod oversoul of the higher that we correlate with on a normal basis. And one of the conversations was in relation to having a relationship or a partner. Now, just as we understand time, internal perception has a convolution of its external reality. This is how time has become distorted because it has been manipulated and misunderstood. Same thing, if you would like, in terms of having another person or wanting another person or wanting even a divine relationship. Because the template of design in terms of wanting or having is a template of design that is based around the vibration of want to have. Now, want to have is a very specific vibrational magnetism. Divine internal unification is also a very specific sequencing. It is only and ever internal, and it cannot manifest external. However, parts of it can, but not the whole, because the whole is internal. But when you vary, in the moment that you have the thought, the desire, the words, the moment that the words come into your awareness, in the very first moment that those words appeared, they were pure. Because before then, there was nothing else that had been layered upon them. So there was a point in time where the words, the connection to the partnership and the relationship, at some point in some perception, through your experience of self and this personality and this identity, holds the connection point to that set of words in its purest, because it did not hold a belief of what it thought that should be. It didn't hold a condition around what it thought that needed to look like, because in the initial thought, before the rest of the identity followed, they were simply just words. Now, that is a split millisecond in which that happens. Everything else that comes in connection to that is layered upon that, creating the heaviness of the need, the belong, or the have, which becomes lower in its desire based instead of higher in its manifestation. And so even if it does become higher in its manifestation, you're not meeting on the physical material plane. You are meeting in the non-physical, and you are meeting in the non-material, and you are meeting in the higher, which is third eye crown. Third eye crown is not made manifest in lower. Anything higher, heart and above, begins to move out of physical material. So therefore, the dichotomy is in the presence of understanding that what you want, you cannot have. You're wanting a divine union, but a divine union is internal. You're wanting a partner, but the partner that you're wanting can only come based on what you have designed, designated, and understood a partner to be, which is, of course, layered under belief. So how do we magnetize and attract a partner that is free? Well, we don't focus on it. We don't think about it, and we no longer want it. Because the only way that anything can be free in its experience is if it is truly free and pure. It is no longer carrying the baggage of desire, the baggage of want, the baggage of need. It is no longer carrying the heavy burden of the lower material desire. Because in its highest union, even using sexual lower basal energy was meant to come through the third eye crown to activate it. But no one goes into a sexual connection activating through the third eye and crown. They're looking for the lower basal physical interaction, which is not in its divine union to begin with. So see, what most people want, they cannot have. But what they can have, they don't even know to want. Because they're so consumed with the need of something that only they can create within the mind, and the mind is the creation of the animation. It is what is animating the physical material reality to begin with. So you see, my dears, what you want at this point is based on what you think you need. The wants of the higher do not exist because the higher doesn't want anything. It just simply allows the experience, whatever the experience is, because it is about the experience. It is about the journey. It is not about the end result. It is not about the conclusion to the story. It is not about having something or someone. It is about allowing, just simply allowing whatever energies flow in and out based on the vibrational resonance to your existence. Now, I can understand, as we all can understand, the urgency or the feeling or the desire or the need to have another person, especially in relationship to a divine union or a divine template or a divine family. But first and foremost, if you have yet to allow an understanding of the self, to even have that be in the process of thought in an attempt to seek, is already bringing convolution. Because you're still trying to find something. You're still trying to find someone. But you have yet to find yourself. Everything that is higher exists already, including yourself. So if you desire a higher experience, if you desire higher connection, you simply rise higher into the self. But that requires knowing the self, understanding the self, taking responsibility and practicing how the design of that connection works. If not, you're just reaching for straws, attempting, trying, wishing you could, thinking you should. You're trying, but you're not existing. You're doing, but you're not being. And this is the story, of course, as always, to the illusion. Everyone wants everything. To take a few moments to suspend themselves through time, such as right now, is so much to ask. Oh, I've heard all of this before. I know everything that you're saying. I know what that is. I know what that means. Instead of just simply allowing yourself to move into and allow the experience to flow through and to allow the perception to hold a different tone of what it is you already know. Because everything that you know has been designed around what you think you know, not where you exist. And we would also like to review the understanding of activations as they have been coming through in a higher state of awareness. And momentarily, as we continue to journey higher and higher, yes, we will move through a higher activated state, but not because we are attempting to fix something. as of course has been the objective through myself before. In a correlation to where I exist right now, I've moved through approaching the activations as a need to fix something, a need to bring something in, a need to connect to a higher design, a need to somehow fix something in the physical material plane, a need to ascend, a need to create new earth, a need, whatever it was always focused on a need, something to accomplish. And of course, that's a system of accomplishment. We feel good when we feel like we're accomplishing something, don't we? We feel good. And we can tell people about what we've accomplished. I know this. I know this because I've accomplished it. And let me teach you how to accomplish something. And we feel good. It's a very, very egoic place. But that's the beauty of the ego. The ego is nothing negative. It's just a very, very small focal point. And it serves, it absolutely serves. And it is a very, very divine design. It serves the archetypes. It serves the perception of being in a reality. It serves the perception of teaching something about a reality. It serves, absolutely. And it allows for the experience so that you can also understand that once you move on from it, if that is a choice that you make. But there is nothing wrong with you. There's nothing that you need to fix. There's nothing wrong with the planet. You do not have a job to do. You do not need to ascend. The planet does not need to ascend. Nothing is broken. Nothing is old. Nothing is new. Everything already is. And everything that has ever been created already exists, and it exists right now. You are just in a very finite, small amount of time to perceive that which you call creation, and that which you have designated as experience, and that which you have designed to support the experience. It is all by you. It is all for you. It is all as you. But if you would like to pan out a little bit, you go higher so that you can see the design, so that you can understand the choice, so that you can experience the planet outside of the pocket that it is designated to in the material realm. You see, even our sun doesn't exist in connection with us. No, our sun exists in a completely different dimension. It's too heavy. It cannot exist. It has to exist. We could not exist all in the same dimension together. The sun exists in its own dimension. That is a stellar dimension. This is a planetary dimension. We have a cosmic dimension. We have third dimension, fourth dimension, fifth dimension, so on. There's so many dimensional planes, so many dimensional realities. But because in the material world, it looks like everything is connected, that's also a part of the illusion. It's a part of the game, if you will, because we all are connected, just not in the way we think we are. Dimensional planes aren't thick, they're very thin. And the sun is just very heavy. And it has a very, very, in terms of dimensional experience, there's gravity. Gravity is a dimension. It has a heavy orbital pull. And so the planets are lighter and they are pulled into and connected, shall we say, by the pull into the solar. But the solar, again, is another dimension. So you see, things aren't always what we think they are, and they're not as they appear, but they just simply are what they are. We always like to pan out and view things from a different scope in a different space because it's fun. It's a journey of self-discovery because you can ascend right now. That's exactly what's happening. As we are speaking, we're ascending. We're moving higher. We're connecting higher. We're receiving higher. We are consistently allowing ourselves to be in the space of higher. That's ascension. We understand that we are also an extension existing through the physical material. We are an extension in the 3D. We are an extension in the 4D. But when we begin to rise higher, we can see everything in the 4D and in the 3D. And then it all begins to become unified. The unification happens through the perception, not through the process. Because the perception is the creation. So if you are inspired to experience something different on your physical material plane, then rise higher. Inspire yourself to see differently. Inspire yourself to enjoy the experience. Inspire yourself to be suspended in time, no longer perceiving the external, but perceiving internal and everything that is as it is without trying to change anything. Just experiencing. We guarantee if you allow this, you will find a completely different scope, a completely different perception. You will simply meet your higher and you will reflect. And everything in the lower, by design, will match. It is automatic. You do not need to change anything. The change is automatic. It is instant. Now, does it take a little bit of space for the material to catch up? Yes, the material vibrates at a much slower rate. But your quantum, especially if you have a pod of oversouls collective, dialing in and feeding the energy as we are now, as we do in the space in which I have created for the group space, then it instantly speeds up the manifested formula. Not because we are believing in something. No, that's a completely different reality, and that's there for experience in other spaces. But because we simply are reflecting on what is, and whatever is a completely different experience every single time. Not focused on an image. But you can if you would like. It's whatever your intention, whatever the level of service is that you are connecting into. Because everything in the physical material plane is puppeted by you. Everything. Only you can create your physical material reality. Now, are there higher collective oversouls working, shall we say, overseeing the energy of the collective and the energy of the planet? Yes, absolutely. But you are directly correlated and connected to them as well. This is what many people tend to call angelic beings. But the angelic realm exists beyond the imagery. The angelic realm exists beyond the imagery. The angelic realm is, shall we say, the first echo of creation, directly correlated, shall we say, to the monad. Very similar. And your monad doesn't take form, nor does the angelic realm, but they can speak through those that are present in form if you are connected in that range of tone. I have a lot that is clearing. So, as we shift now the tone, and we will begin expressing from tone, and we will begin moving to directly open experience and access certain gateways of the physical material to channel specific dialogues of information, specific sequencing of the what is known as in this realm the divine blueprint. It's really simply just a higher sequencing of the physical material and it brings in information that transcends belief systems. It brings in information that transcends opinion or perceived belief. It transcends it because we are not attempting to control the outcome. We don't need anything from it. We simply allow the information to come in and to fulfill the design. It is egoic to think that you must directly be something, control something in order to receive something. But that's also a part of the experience. That's so the ego. It's a beautiful experience. It is truly divine. Everything is divine. But just understand that that is a very specific reality. What we would invite in here is simply just to be the channel and the conduit and just simply be aware of the flow of the tone of energy and to allow the divine design, if you would like to call it that, to allow the intelligence of the highest expression to flow in and to open. Because the intelligence that is operating in the highest is not in connection with the lowest, and yet it is the lowest, but it is not asking. It is not asking for feedback from the lowest. The lowest is simply there as a support of energy. And so if you feel that you have any intrusive thoughts or needs to control, just let go. Just let go. You don't need to know. It's not about needing to know. It's about allowing so that you can understand. Because understanding lies outside the realm of knowing. Okay. We would invite everyone to take a deep breath and to allow the breath to stop in the throat. Hold. And expel the energy. We would invite you to do this a few times, please. There is an intention and purpose to it stopping in the throat. And clearing everything throat and down. Making way. Opening. 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 And clearing. And beginning the access point, opening the gateway of the hormones. Now, we would like to reflect that the hormones are the dictators. They are directly correlated with ego. And are also dictators and creators of reality. They are your lower creators. These are what are in direct link with your mind, your lower mind, the lower states of consciousness. And so in the lower states of consciousness, the hormones, the programs are directly correlating and creating. This is also where the desire, the need for other people, having the hormonal responses, the sadness, the grief, the worry, the concern, the joy, the ecstasy, the love, those are all hormonal responses, and those are hormonal realities. If you feel that you are in control or being controlled by certain experiences in relation to the hormones, well, it's because you've programmed yourself that way. Everyone has, to some degree or another, programmed themselves to be controlled by the hormones because this is the creators of the reality. It's what gives you a sense of belonging. It gives you a sense of cycling through time. It gives you a sense of love. It gives you a sense of loss. Your emotions are directly correlated. Identified emotions are directly correlated to your hormones. These are pockets of information that are always operating with the subconscious. which means if you have multiple realities that are still showing up, multiple templates that are still showing up where you are being controlled, then you are being controlled by the subconscious mind. You are not in control. Now, this is something that we have consistently worked through because we understand, as being in the lower feminine and being dictated by a monthly cycle, there is experiences. Yes, there is experiences of discomfort. There is experiences of emotional imbalance. There's experiences of sexual desire. There's experiences of eating, overeating, undereating. It's all over the place. I mean, all over the place. And this is because the hormones are dictating a finite amount of time. So you need to experience this. 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 And we need to get it done now. And we need to get it done now, because if we don't get it done now, we'll never get to have it. Or I have to feel this way now because I can't feel anything else. And you become trapped. Remember, you are an extension of higher, and you can correlate to higher realities in any moment. The reality of being perceived as in an experience and the reality of existing as the experience. And as we open the gateways of the hormones, we begin to expand with the intention to clear, to cleanse, and to shift. Now, before, there was a belief that we needed to make certain programs dormant. Eventually, with enough layering of higher intelligent light, those will go dormant on their own. They remain alive because they are being fed with the belief that it is necessary for them to remain alive. Just like anything, the reprogramming is a process. But at the same time, we already exist in the higher framework where this isn't a part of our existence. However, because of the way time is moving in correlation to the material, it is at least an invitation to allow the higher design to come into this design, and all focalized energy will then recreate the physical material from its highest design. Again, all a part of the existence and simultaneously a part of the illusion. So long as you are accepting of this and not attempting to change anything, then the experience can be fully free and flow as such. All right, opening and activating hormones. First, opening the adrenal glands. If you're a female, you might experience some cramping during this. If you're a male, you might experience a little bit of head pressure. You might have some stomach cramping as well. Opening the adrenals. Opening. Opening and clearing. Allowing an in-stream of higher intelligent light to pour in, to open, to clear, and to cleanse. You might be feeling this pretty intensely at your feet, the basis of the adrenals. And activating the carbon molecule. Signature sequence of 1, design of 7, and activating through this gateway, opening and activating through the gateway, receiving, receiving. There is a heavy in stream into the adrenals. These encoded formulas, if you will, very beautiful. They have an aquamarine tint to them, like an orange blue. And these lines, opening, expanding, clearing, just placing the intention as one that is cleansing and upgrading. Upgrading. Activating pituitary gland. Activating pituitary gland, allowing in the light, allowing in the higher sequencing. And you will feel some organ correlation with this as well. Bladder, kidneys, upgrading the sequencing, and clearing. Clearing. And allowing in the higher design and the higher sequencing with the pituitary. Beginning sequencing 6, beginning sequencing of 6. With a green and marine cobalt blue. And activating the sequencing. Activating the sequencing. And opening the spine. Opening the pineal. Opening and expanding the pineal, allowing in more light. With the expansion of the pineal, there may be a lot that begins to open, expanding. Open, expand. Expanding. And allowing in the higher designs. And just allowing yourself to acclimate to the tone and the vibration of the light. Again, the light travels faster, of course, than the sound. So just allow yourself to tap into the sensations, the feeling. And opening the gateways of the nervous system, opening the pathways, opening the pathways, opening and expanding, opening and expanding. And reviewing the pathways of the nervous system that are most active in the hormonal. Clearing and opening. There we go. Moving into higher gateway. Moving into higher gateway and anchoring. Just allowing your energy to shift and to move. And the experience gets to be as light as you want it to be, as everything always is. Feeling a lot of lightness present, a lot of light present. Incoming working through the adrenals and the pituitary. Yep, definitely seeing a lot of light at play. That's beautiful. Beautiful, 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 beautiful. A lot of really beautiful gateways, shall we say. Everything that I'm viewing is designs. That's all I quote unquote see. I see through, I guess we will say, the pineal. So seeing through the third eye, I see the designs. But everything again is grayscale. And then the light, the really light aspects of it, where light, everything is darkness. And then just where the light is playing in on the darkness, shall we say. Very beautiful. Okay. So I would like you to take a moment and be present and aware with your design. What are you feeling? How are you feeling? And whatever it is that you're feeling, why are you feeling what you're feeling? That is something to be aware of. Do you have a really heavy magnetic pull coming from? It's a different dimensional pull. It's very beautiful coming from the solar winds or solar body. So from this space, we can correlate to different dimensional planes, different experiences. And when you are moving energetically as material and as non-material, then you are already coexisting and intersecting with all planes of all realities. So expanding. Now, coming into a higher anchor. The question that was asked was, what do you feel? And then why do you feel what you feel? And this question is there especially if you're still feeling yourself as heavy or tense, or you're feeling any type of pain or resistance. It's an opportunity for you to tune into and ask yourself, well, why? Why am I choosing? Why am I feeling this? Because you're feeling pathways that you have designed and that you have designated. I love you too, my dear, so much. So giving yourself an opportunity to just simply float, because this is where the connection is right now. It's just floating. And you'll see that this activation is quite different than others where we're going through and we're needing to take care of a certain things, a lot of things, right? I noticed with those that even though they were really, really powerful and really intense, they were also seemingly somewhat heavy sometimes. And I'm, again, just so super grateful for all of the experiences of every activated state. But one thing that was also always there, and I'm reflecting this as a point of shifting how I received myself and my reality, was this pain that was always in my shoulder. It was always there. No matter what I did, it was always there. And I'm no longer experiencing that. And that is because I stopped trying to fix it. Really, all that was necessary was for me to strengthen my shoulder and to allow the physical material to have some support in a very physical material way, if you will, because everything else that's operating in the non-physical material plane, it already exists. There's nothing to fix. And so it also takes a little bit of time to show up. So I'm just allowing. And as I've allowed, my physical material is manifesting itself again and again and again through higher pathways that are designated each time I come into a connection like this, where I simply just allow the experience. And there's a lot that's happening right now, even as I'm speaking. But I understand a lot of times people want to feel like they are doing something. They like to be entertained. Well, you are doing something. You feel exactly how you have designated yourself to feel. And as we are sitting here speaking and gathering, and even as we've been speaking now, we've been moving lightning, the clearing of the debris to the hormones has been taking place. We would like to open from this space. Let us review the monthly cycle, as that is upon us as well, and how it correlates to the blood. So the pain receptors that operate during that time of the month are automatic. They're part of the hormonal response. And we would like to clear those pathways. So clearing And coming into the blood, coming into the blood, and activating let us call forward a higher magnetic line of the blood, a higher design. So calling this into the awareness. Calling in the sangreal. Taking a moment, acclimating to the royal line. And activating within the sangreal. Allowing and those are very beautiful magnetic lines. They appear through the pineal as a light blue, indigo blue, with some violet lavender tones. And white underneath. So connecting into sangreal. Once again. And into that magnetic line. This should be coming in through the heart, higher, with a direct link, third eye. So receiving the sangreal. Receiving the higher line. And expanding within the sangreal. Always a beautiful experience to come into. The sangreal is royal blood. Many, of course, choose to perceive this as the blood of Yeshua, because Yeshua was spiritual, shall we say, the royal spiritual plane, identified in such a way. But the royal blood is the original line. I'm not speaking about the royal organic line. No, not the blood of kings or queens, although that is a branch of the sangreal. No, this magnetic line is the pure line. It is the original line of the blood, the very first atonement of the human. Allow yourself to connect into the sangreal, the royal line. The original royal or the original pure is simply the very first tone, the original tone. We have been layered upon that, if you will, but it's always here. It's always existing. Now, this royal line, as I'm sure everyone experienced and everyone felt, and carries a slightly different current than what we're used to in the organic plane. Organic blood carries your information of what you're born into. The royal line is the existence of the design in its original. It's not what you're born into, it's what you exist as. Again, just it's a perception of the reality, if you will. Now I call this royal line in to provide an opportunity to enhance and to clear, to begin clearing the blood, the organic. So taking an opportunity now and also bringing in the rod here. Begin anchoring the blood with the royal tone, the sangreal. And to begin pulling it in and to clear, clear, and clear any pockets of information designed by the lower magnetic lines. Whew, yeah, there's a lot happening. Clear. And we're going to take a few moments here as the design works. And as everything is moving and clearing through the blood, clearing, clearing, and clearing and cleansing the blood, cleansing the organic, they're like almost like little fingers coming up, little spikes coming up, clearing and enhancing. And that's enhancing the magnetic field of the heart, intensifying the magnetic field of the heart. There we go. The magnetic field is matching. Really intense magnetic field. And there goes the orbit and the gateway. The pulling, if you're feeling pulling like I am, really intense. I mean, I could move my chest if I wanted to, but it's really, really intense. It's like I'm suspended in this magnetic field. And just allowing the animation to reset. Allowing the animation to reset. I'm definitely feeling a lot of nausea coming in with this one. A lot of reset. Magnetic realignment. And we're moving through the reanimation and the reset right now. Now, I would definitely allow yourself to just be like a rag doll. And you might feel yourself rocking. Don't try to hold yourself in place. Remember, you are held in place. Just allow yourself to let go. And now with this reset, it looks much different from when we began. So I can reflect that the pockets are different pockets of information. It's a gutting, if you will. Whew, man, lots of nausea. Resetting. Nervous system is resetting. Everything is resetting. And just letting all the parts come in, because that's exactly what's happening. So this magnetic design, this extremely powerful heart design, it's going to take a moment and acclimate. I don't know about you guys, but man, as soon as that began to set in, whew, there's just a complete dousing and clearing of the organic plane. Dowsing and clearing. And I can just feel this complete new animation, new design. All the pieces are still coming in, but there we go. So all pieces coming into the design, animating the organic. Pretty amazing design. So if you'll notice as we go through this, I'm not doing anything. I'm simply just allowing. And that is a very important part of this process, I feel, is that you simply just allow the design to come in. It is a very, very powerful design. It's almost, whew, I went into it, man, everything was, my nervous system though, everything is, this is a really powerful design. Okay, just letting go and allowing. Letting go and allowing. All right. Wow. Those are some really, really powerful magnetic lines. Just allow yourself to fully let go, fully let go. Higher solar lines. They're coming in from a different dimensional plane. I can feel it. They're coming in from behind. Well, at first it came in from above. Now it's coming in from behind. So these are a multitude of marriages of different planes of animation. Oh yeah, I can see that different design now. I am going to ask for a moment. Okay. Continue. The sequencing is really beautiful. There's waves of golden, violet, platinum, but then there's also, so I can see the waves of light. I'm also seeing the information and how it is encoded, shall we say, and also the design. It's very, very beautiful. And I know that it will look different for each and every person because it is unique to you. And this entire process has been moving through an acclimation and receiving of a higher design. Just simply allowing a higher animation and reanimation of the organic material. And it's an entire overhaul of the system. It feels like no wonder. It's because it's higher cosmic coming in. This is a higher cosmic. No wonder it feels nauseating. Nauseating because it's like space travel. Okay. Now I'm going to take a moment just to kind of allow everything to settle in because I feel my system wanting to overload. Anchor. Anchor. And decompress. Okay. I'd like to just bring everyone in for a moment. Coming down. Coming down. Just a little decompressing. 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 Coming down. Coming down. Coming down. Coming down. There we go. The anchor, 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 anchor. Let my organic catch up a little bit here. It's very interesting. Normally, it would begin with the nausea. That came in out of left field. Letting the system reset. I've also really got to go pee. I've really got to go pee. But I would have to go run inside, run back out here. So, I'm coming down, decompressing. Now, I will reflect that there is a lot more here being received, a lot more. If you would like to join me and continue or extend what has already been received, then I'm going to go take a bathroom break really quickly. Check my battery. Okay, good. If you would like to remain and connect and journey a little bit more and receive a little bit more, then please hang around. We'll receive a little bit more. I am going to need to go use the bathroom really quickly, and then I will be right back and take a moment to allow this organic reset to take place because there was a lot. So if you would like to use the bathroom and or anything else like that, and then join me for about another probably about 30 minutes, then 15, I'll say 15 to 30, somewhere around there. Then we'll continue. So I'll be right back. Oh, I had it on mute. My goodness. I apologize. Thank you. I accidentally did that. I pressed the wrong thing, I suppose. Okay, thank you, my dear. So moving higher. Moving higher. From this higher space, thank you for letting me know. From this higher space, okay, there we go. I am feeling, okay. I would invite everyone to tune into the energy is coming in. As a higher heart gateway, it's coming in from the shoulders, entering, and then it's also infiltrating up, but it can only come up once it begins to come in through the shoulders. Now, everything and every point that we connect into is holding a very specific design, a very specific tone, a very specific vibration. And if you would simply just allow yourself to be the open vessel and open vehicle, then you will feel the different dimensional planes that are intersecting your quote unquote reality, which is you. And you can experience and feel the different highways, the different intersecting points. And by design, you can choose to connect into any of those highways and download information. So pulling and shifting now, pulling away and beginning to shift. Beginning to shift. And coming into higher connection and higher anchor. Anchoring. Expanding. Now, on this galactic plane, let us see what is here, and then we'll close it out. Opening up once again the connection to Sangreal, the magnetic line. Expanding. Expanding. And then just simply allowing yourself to bring in everything from this cosmic plane. Without a need to identify anything, just allowing the experience of the tone and the light. Allowing the energy to be the design. And opening into the experience. Now, I do understand that I'm hearing for some, a necessary translation would probably be a good gap or bridge to the gap. So we'll work with the sound of the light. Yatakuruk, 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 kuruk, kuruk. Different sounds of oscillating light. And connect and anchor. So I will go ahead and just begin to close this out. I just wanted to take a few moments to take in and absorb the last bits of the receiving. And I thank you all for, hanging in there and choosing to finalize that with me. It's a very interesting aspect of where I'm reflecting from. Because as I've moved through this journey of coming into these activations, there's certain times where the only thing that's necessary is just simply to be the vehicle of receiving, to receive, and not necessarily identify the receiving, because what I'm also understanding is that if I identify something too specifically throughout this process, then you are going to go into what you believe that is. But if you simply have a reference point or an anchor, such as sangria, royal blood, it gives you a place to anchor and receive. Now, again, royal blood is simply just a reference point. It's not an absolute identity. So remember that. And that's what this process has been, to allow everyone to tap in and receive without the need to identify, and simultaneously, but allowing certain reference points. And what I was able to witness just in the process of the receiving of the design and of the design, was that I was actually allowing so that I could witness the design and so that I could experience the design. And at every point, even now, as the reanimation was in process, I can experience and I can open and I can feel all that I'm connected to. I don't need to be identifying it. I can just simply allow there to be that experience of the design and of the reanimation. And I can actually feel that level of letting go, of just controlling it, And I know a lot of people they seek to have an identity as a part of the process, needing that to enhance the experience. And I understand that. Simultaneously with what's pouring in now is I become lighter and lighter by simply acknowledging my existence there. And I become just absorbed in this state of experience. And it's so beautiful. It's so beautiful. And it allows me to understand the design and to understand, I guess you could say, the operation of it. I'm curious if anyone else experienced the incoming design, or if you anchored there and were able to experience. You're more than welcome to drop that in if you'd like. If not experienced, these activations are just also very different. And this one was extremely intense for me. There was definitely an acclamation of higher design and higher animation. And we also received a higher magnetic connection point, which is directly correlated, of course, to that higher state of awareness. And this is strengthening the core or the magnetism of the heart. That's what I'm hearing. So this moving into this space of connection and downloading, and I can feel it. That was the really intense magnetic, almost like force field that was just holding me there. And there was an increase, an upgrade to the magnetic heart field there, which also is increasing the magnetic fortitude of the organic. So extremely, extremely powerful. There's so much more that's happening, but those are the most important, especially if we talk about in relation to the blood and the magnetic charge that it carries. And it is directly correlated to the heart center. And so you are a byproduct, if you will, of many aspects of animation. And this line of blood, this vibrational, magnetic, etheric, if you will, is guiding into the higher template, the higher design. And it requires that antenna to be able to consistently receive the downloads. And the influx of that, it is super powerful, super, super, super powerful. That's why, like, everything dumped my entire, like, I had to go to the bathroom, like, everything, my system was dumping information. So this could be continuing over the next few hours for everyone. There's a lot of system resets in motion. And yeah, a lot of system resets in motion. So I thank you all for receiving. And I am so grateful for everyone that is here receiving. I would love to be able to communicate with those that are here in the chat. But since I also understand that it's a little bit difficult for some to communicate via the chat, I completely understand that. In closing, really the only thing that I'm feeling is that because of the reset, there might be a couple of major dumps. I am going to drop this in because this did happen with one of my group members. You could have a blackout where your vision goes black. Thank you for receiving, my dear. I don't, that, you know, I'm not saying that's going to happen, but because the ocular, if depending on how your senses are wired, you could have a blackout. It could be necessary. But I really feel like everything, even now, there is still just a consistent in stream directly receiving through, okay, so we're used to 3D, but I'm feeling the receiving through 3 planes: heart, third eye, and crown. We're using those as reference points, shall we say, energetic gateways. And through these planes are different dimensional hues, tones, and those tones carry a design. And each of those designs are coming together and creating and animating within you, as well as you're operating as and through the higher atonement. And so, at least for me, that's how I can feel everything coming in. Yet even now, the magnetic field of the heart is so intense and thick that I almost don't feel anything else. I really don't. I don't feel anything else. It's pretty incredible. That's all I feel. That's all I feel is this incredible magnetic intensity. It's making the bottom of my feet itch, actually. So the DNA sequencing for this, there is a molecular organic. Whoo, my bottom of my feet is itching. It's like itching from the magnetic field. It's like itching. I'm enhancing us a little bit with the rod here. So you might feel some pretty intense pulling down with the dowsing rod here. So this field, this magnetic field, is also correlated to the higher design, which is correlated to the higher reality, if you will. So the organic DNA is reformatted to its, okay, so everyone has a organic signature. It's this gene code representation of what you're born into, right? But you also have the atomic design, which is etheric in nature. And thank you, my dear. And what was, and I'm so grateful. I'm so grateful for that. The nausea for me was wasn't necessarily. I don't want to say it was because I wasn't. I'm always anchored, but my organic. I'm with you. Like, I'm really grateful that you did that, because my organic was like, this is too much. This is too much. This is too much. But at the same time, it was very interesting because I had already started higher, and it was like the layers that started coming in. It was so interesting. I'm still very intrigued by it because it I actually felt higher and no nausea, and then it was just there. Yeah, it's in a good way, absolutely. But it was very interesting because normally it happens at the beginning when I start to go higher, and then all of a sudden it just came in out of left field, which is really intriguing. And of course, I'm hearing it's because of the reset. So I'm grateful to the anchor because that was it was definitely, yeah, it was definitely a good assistance. Absolutely. I'm great. I wanted to check in with that. I'm like, was I? Maybe I wasn't. Yeah, I'm really grateful for that. Thank you, thank you, thank you. It was this, because normally when I go in, I'm able to go in and expand and receive it all and then bring it all in and anchor it. But this design, this design was very powerful. I'm curious if you experienced it in that way as well. Extremely powerful. It's the I felt it as a like an in stream layers, like the layers that kept coming in streaming, layering, in streaming, layering, in streaming, layering, and coming in from a multitude of planes. So the biggest I feel was the solar magnetic. And the solar magnetic, yeah, as I'm talking about it, it's there. It's there. Yeah, huge. Yes, thank you. It's solar magnetic. So, okay, I am hearing, I can review a few things now if you're open to it. Solar magnetic, we're carrying a new solar magnetic charge with this. Solar magnetic charge is different than the sun and the sky. Okay, this is different. This is coming in from a different plane. This is what I would say is the true solar. So solar magnetic charge is still correlated to the sun and the sky, but it is not directly like what we would say is connected as the sun. So it's a part of, no, okay, it is a part of, but what we see as the sun and the sky, as everyone knows, is a part of the physical material reality, which is not all that is, it's just a portion. So as what's coming in from the dimensional plane of the star, it is charging the energy bodies with the solar magnetic currents or the solar magnetic winds coming in from the actual dimensional plane of the star itself, and enhancing, I keep hearing fortitude, enhancing the fortitude of the organic. And even now I'm moving through that connection, just reconnecting into it. It's a very, very powerful line, directly correlated, what we would say is like north to south, east to west, but of course directions don't exist. So as above, so below, left to right, feeling it as the cross, since some people like those representations. That is a very, very, very powerful magnetic charge. Whew, even now, whew. Wow. Okay, so this magnetic charge is aligning the technology of the cells to be able to harness the energy of the planet and the energy of the sun, but from beyond the dimensional planes of the organic material and within them. So to be able to receive the information of those dimensional planes beyond the material and as the material. That's no wonder it was so intense. It's a complete different, our system is completely, I mean, that's huge. That's actually what we would say is a connection to the highest civilizational understanding, the beginnings of harnessing, but not the beginnings. The beginnings of remembering the harnessing of the highest points of civilization, which is to be able to harness the power of the planet and the star as a civilization, to remember and then to rise. Because we do know, we know this, we exist on all planes and all realities. We just have to remember. So now the sequencing of the DNA, the molecular, our basic molecules, and every DNA sequencing is 1, 5, 6, and 3. That's in everything. So God, shall we say it's the God code or whatever. It's the basic building blocks of all organic matter. But the sequencing is shifting into a higher formation. So we have the base levels of those attributes, and then we have the next higher level of those, like it continues to rise. So we are into a higher organic sequencing, which came through in the powers of 7 and 6. Oh my gosh. And there's 6 viewers, 7 likes. Wow. Okay. So, because we are the reality, many people look for signs in their reality. If you see numbers or sequencing in your reality, I'm going to just allow and invite in a simplicity to it. You're seeing a reverberation of your own encoding. So wherever you are vibrationally encoded, if you will, or in sequencing, it is going to appear in your reality. And the best way that the material can reflect is through numbers. So numbers are also our internal sequencing as well. It's our vibrational sequencing. It's our channel, and it's our attunement, if you will. And there's only 1 through 9, and the 0 is basically the space in between. The way that it has been appearing and the way that I'm experiencing it now is every time I see numbers, I see them as mirrors, and there's always a number in between. So it would be 6776, but there's always a number in between, like 2. 6776 with a 2 in between. The 2 would be the sequence bridge. And I've been keeping record of this for a little bit now, and I can see how every single day is a sequence, and our DNA directly correlates to the sequence. And then we have cycles of sequencing, and it's reverberated through our external and numbers, of course. We see it on the clock, off our phone, right? So when we ask for signs, we're really just seeing our own reflection in the reality, because it is us. We are creating it. So, but if we go above that, as in the sequencing is now rising to meet a higher formula or higher formation of the cycle. And now I can feel how we are harnessing that. And the organic is an in stream of the sequence. It comes into the organic, and the organic formulates it and creates from within it. So I would invite you to take a moment and just tune into the sequencing, because everything is numbers. Everything is vibrational inflection. And just tune into your sequencing and what is your sequence creating. And just take a moment to just view. Now, of course, for me, I don't see images. I just see design of all the beautiful numbers and how it comes together in the reality beyond reality. But you can experience the design of your reality as you and around you. And we also too have this illusion of death, of dying, like the body, the organic body dying. But you actually exist in this body continuously through time. You just come in and animate it. This you exists always. It doesn't die. Just so you know. It's simply an illusion to view the body dying. It's a part of the play, if you will, to give an illusion of time moving. But you always come in and animate the body. The body never dies. This is why we think we see reality, but we don't. We see what we want to see. We see what we need to see. But your body never dies. Your body is a vehicle, and you animate the vehicle. So because you are animating the vehicle, and a new reality came in because it's pouring down rain now, and I just went to the bathroom and it was nothing. So you're animating. And of course, creating, and actually, yes, creating the weather too. Absolutely. The weather is, of course, a byproduct of our own creation. And with a clearing and a reset that's happening right now, rain in accordance to that. So you animate your body. You're always animating your body because the body is a very finite amount of energy. It's so small. It's so small in this plane. And the amount of energy that comes here is so small, comparatively speaking, that you're always animating it. Always. You exist continuously. Always. Past, present, future, right now. It's just you're only perceiving it through this mind, if you will, through this reality right now. But you're always existing as you in this body, always. And you're the puppeteer of the other bodies as well. But the body is a vehicle and the body is a vessel, which means that the body changes and yet it doesn't. So many different perceptions of reality that are operating simultaneously. They're simple layers, holograms, layers of holograms, and perceived material reality through the holograms based on what you believe. And what you believe, you activate the hologram, and that is what you perceive, and that is what you see. And your DNA is the projector. Your DNA holds the sequence. It projects reality, and you exist as the identity marker within the projected reality. So if the body is a little bit frozen, then your overlay, shall we say, the feed to your overlay is malfunctioning. And that's because the one viewing is stuck. Because that's the true movement, not the perception of physical material movement, like going out and walking and running. That's a force of movement, but it's not true movement. But it does serve the physical material plane. Just like for my shoulder, the overlay, the necessity to balance right now is to put a little workout in there. But that balances the physical material plane with the projected overlay. So if we understand how we are experiencing the physical material plane, exactly. And what's beautiful about the lenses is we filter, right? And that's what gives us the experiences. We filter through the different lenses, like a kaleidoscope. And then we project the holographic reality because we believe it. Just like the archetypal Isis, the goddesses, those are just archetypes. They're just realities of experience. Goddess Isis and God Ra were created in the image of what we believe and what we believe the image of a god or a goddess should look like. But those that carry that mind, body, spirit complex, they come in and animate that mind, body, spirit complex. But they're not a god or a goddess. Those that hold that name or that identity are just like us. It's just like us. They're just an animation. And they don't exist as anything other than that animation, which means they can't meet us in the reality. We can only meet the archetype. Because just like I am meeting you right now in this connection, I'm actually meeting you higher in connection, but I am also meeting you in my reality, the image of you, which you have animated, which you have created. So it's a collective correlation, but I can only meet my image and I can only meet my existence in my reality. But all the other puppeteers are puppeteering. But it's my reality. So if we allow that, then the higher experiences go beyond the worship of the god and goddess. We go beyond the worship of the angelic, go beyond the worship. It comes into the individual union and existence of the self as the God self without the worship. And when you exist as the God self, then you understand the creation as the creation, and you no longer seek to belong or to be guided by anything outside of you, because it was never outside of you and it was always you. It was always you anyways. So if it was always you, then you were always guiding yourself. And such a beautiful thing that is, right? Such a beautiful thing. to know that we don't have to receive guidance from elsewhere. We exist as, we are the channel and the conduit for our own understanding. And so, and again, thank you for just being present with me as I allow the rain to die down. For me, it was I was in a space of moving higher in my connection. And it was a space of enlightenment. It was, oh, it's just me. It's just me. I'm here. It's always me. And at the same time, it's always not just me, but it is. I'm never alone. Never alone. Ever, ever, ever am I alone. Because as the God creator self, you are in tune with all, but you are a very small representation of the all in this animated self. And you move higher in atonement to just bask in the receiving, just as we've done today, bask in the receiving of the self and just receive. Nothing else to do. No need to control, no need to call anything in other than the design. Just becoming aware of the design. It's been a very beautiful thing. I will admit it's been very beautiful and very powerful and very amazing. And it completely shifts now this again doesn't mean that that we don't have cosmic brethren outside of the material plane that we are witnessing, but we have to also just keep in heart of how the different operations of reality are moving, the different layers of perception are moving. So if we come outside of the worship, then we realize that it's just existences with other selves, and we don't need to worship or belong or connect to a set of belonging, because I do feel we get caught up in that archetypal shell of attempting to belong and needing to receive. Yes. And simultaneously, if we just expand outside of the worship, we find ourselves in a space of free, where there's existence and we are there existing. There's nothing to do, to solve any problems, not trying to create anything different. Because if you want to create something different, you come here to get ideas, if you will. You create on the spiritual plane. It's a different plane where you're not bound by physical material, because physical material still has, shall we say, a limit. So you come into different planes, animated in your awareness, your consciousness, and simultaneously, you're also always there. You're just more heightened through the continual feeding of the animation. But the animation always exists, the body always exists, it doesn't die. The self always exists, this identity always exists, it doesn't die. And there's all of your family, all of your ancestors, they're all you. I know everyone knows this because of the perception of incarnation, reincarnation, but because reincarnation is also an illusion, it's all you. It's all you. You're just playing the different roles for the different parts, for the different perceived realities and the different perceptions of time that are all simultaneous to now, that are all happening right now. And because everything is and can only be right now in this incarnate animation, because this is what you're aware of right now. And even if you're not quote unquote aware of it, it still exists. But That's also the illusion of moving through time by moving through ancestors, by moving through birth and death. But that is an illusion. You have a whole story that is a part of the play and a part of the illusion. You simply are. You are all that is right now. You are all of it. And you are this image for a reason. You are in this image of this body for a reason. So many tend to get caught up in wanting to be other things, but you're suspended or animated, if you will, in this body for a reason. This is the experience of this animation. Instead of trying to be something or someone else or belonging to some other group or some other sect or some other cosmic relation, you are here in this animation for a reason, for this experience. But you can experience simultaneous to all other aspects, always, by moving higher, connecting higher, and just simply receiving and reverberating the experience. Because when you move higher, you're not bound by the animation. But you don't want to run away. You don't want to try to be something different. Many people say that they long for home or they feel like they don't belong here. But you're not just here, you're everywhere. This is just a very small part of the everywhere that you exist. So love that you exist here in this moment. Love it. Love everything about it because you're animating it. And you can really feel, just as we've been speaking, you can really feel the intensity of the magnetic currents that are flowing, that are coming in and surrounding and bathing and basking in the wisdom and the truth of existence. So we do hope that this allows everyone to move through their reality a bit differently. Because also, too, the devotion to the planet on the material plane is also a reality of belief. Because you don't connect to Gaia, if you will. Gaia is an identity of the animated self, just as you are. But you're also more than the animation, aren't you? So when you go into, as everyone goes into Gaia, you're really just going into a reality of what you believe Gaia is. Because Gaia is the physical material, but just like I can't go into you on the physical material plane, you can't go into Gaia. But you can connect to the vibrational signature of her oversoul, if you will, through your oversoul. And you can, just like now, connect, which is what we would say would be directly correlated to her core, her central point, her heart. You move into her core and then expand out of the organic plane higher until you go beyond the planet and you connect into the consciousness. The consciousness of the planet is slightly different than the organic material. And just feeling into the design. Just take a moment and feel the design. The vibrational signature, the design of the consciousness of the planet. Not the collective consciousness. No, the consciousness, the actual oversoul of the planet herself. And just feeling that. So beautiful. It just streams and pours in. Because that consciousness, that oversoul, is also directly correlated to your oversoul. So through your oversoul and her oversoul, you connect and meet, and then you can receive from that space. It's very beautiful. This is how energetically, when I'm connecting on a planetary scale, I'm connecting to a oversoul of consciousness, not to the material plane. And I think many people think that they're connecting beyond the material, but they use the material imagery. And usually when you're the image is the guide, then you tend to go into the reality or the hologram of what you think it is. But I would simply invite in not using any imagery to guide and just simply allowing the sensation of experience. So, and I hope that offers some assistance and maybe allowing. And I thank you. And thank you so much for remaining and receiving. As it's been just a consistent, beautiful experience. Apologies, I did not mean to actually pull that to I do all the time. I didn't mean to go out of the screen. So one of the things, I've got a little bit of battery left. I would like to just share a few more, and then I'm going to go run through the lane and go back inside in the other cabin. But one of the things that I'm really learning is it's not just the embracing of the experience, but to hold a certain point of embrace to the experience while simultaneously rising in the wisdom. To allow myself to go beyond, again, everything we think we know it's so much more. And what I've learned is that I understood the meaning of certain things, and I held the experience too. But at the same time, my experience was still, as all experiences, layered. And my breakthrough comes from continually enlightening myself into these spaces of allowing, where I simply just flow into and allow. And I can even see now, I can, as I'm experiencing energy coming in and animating different parts, I can see where there was a part of me throughout the activation, like, oh, I would drop in and be like, oh, I wonder if people feel like I need to talk more, or maybe I need to guide more. Maybe I'm not saying enough, right? These different parts that different personality parts, where different personalities would perceive the need of something. And I could feel those different personality parts coming in throughout the activation and just saying different things. And it was like, oh, well, thank you. Thank you for speaking. But also honoring that space of where I exist, because I know that everyone is me, and simultaneously everyone is who they are and are able to connect and receive and be a part of that same experience for themselves if they're simply just free, if they just let go and they just float and allow yourself to just go and receive. And when you feel like you need to anchor a little bit, you anchor, right? But you just go and you bring it in and you channel it all in, letting yourself go, letting it go, receive, letting it go, but without attempting to dictate anything. And that's been my most beautiful teacher, is I don't need to dictate, because I can feel where in the moments of dictation, it was almost like an attempt to control what was already coming in, and it would become almost like it would manipulate itself a little bit, and it would be intense, but it almost didn't resolve anything, is the way it felt. It felt like it helped, and then it also felt like, but it feels like there's more. And that was I guess you could say, the war that was happening, is a feel of needing to accomplish something, needing to direct something, instead of just simply going into the space of connection and allowing. Because you're the director of your experience anyways, not me. And if you can simply join in the space of allowing, then you can simply witness the just array of beauty that is there. And that's also the sovereignty of it, right? So the sovereignty is everyone is having the experience within their own space. And it's not dictated by another. So if you can use the words as simply like, oh, okay, here's the experience, and oh, okay, here's the experience, I can extend within that experience because I'm already there, then you don't need the dictation. You don't need me telling you what to do or how to do it or where it is or what's going on. And of course, I've gone through the different realities of experience where that was the case. And it was a beautiful thing. I'm really grateful for it. Absolutely. But I've also learned that the most powerful experience comes from simply coming together and getting lost in your sovereignty. Just getting lost in your own sovereignty and just really loving and just going and floating and receiving and coming together from different anchor points, like the royal blood, the sangreal and such. So, yeah, it's been a beautiful thing. So thank you, Lori. Thank you for being here with me and exchanging and journeying with me. This has been very beautiful. I've loved it. Thank you for enjoying this moment with me. And there's a lot coming in. Whoo, even just in that reflection, I'm feeling it reflected back. And that was powerful and beautiful at the same time. So thank you for being present within, and thank you for allowing that reverberation to connect through time and space and to come into this material plane and be reflected, because that's exactly what's happening. And another major increase in the heart. Another increase. And if anyone else is here, thank you for being here. I don't know who else is here. So whoever else is tuning in, I thank you for being here and for journeying as well. Whoever's here, but I'm just not seeing in the chat. And again, another higher heart magnetic intensity here. Whew. Yeah, another powerful attunement line coming in. And that's directly from the gateway of higher heart, and wing space. Yeah. Wow. It's like, again, when that comes in and expands, man, it's just like everything goes numb. You can't feel anything else but the magnetic currents. I mean, that's all I feel. It's beautiful. Literally, it feels like I could just be lifted straight up off my seat right now and just start floating. It's amazing. I don't know if anyone else feels it that intensely, but I do. It's even increasing now that I'm talking about it. Yep, it's getting very, very, very intense. It's another solar wind is what I'm hearing. Another solar gust. Increasing the fortitude of the heart magnetic field. Wow. That is really, really powerful. And it's yeah, I can just, yep, our hearts, and yep, exactly. The solar connection from the solar dimension, the star dimension, is coming to, it's directly connected to and pouring in. Well, technically, the orbit, the heaviness of the intensity of that magnetic field, when we align ourselves to it, then we connect, and it assists and increases and builds the fortitude of the magnetic field. We have to be able to energetically meet it, because it's a very, very, very powerful field. And it feels, it feels like a dowsing rod, if you will. It's very intense. Now crown to root. Really, really powerful. Working in the orb tree. Wow. And it kind of just, when it hits, it just, you're there. You can't, not that you can't move. I don't want to say you can't move, but it's so intense that, like, that's That's all. That's all that is that experience of that energy, the influx of that field coming in. And it's so beautiful because it's so clearly a unified masculine feminine. It's like it's both. You are just this field of magnetic intensity. And now the vibrations, so the oscillations, the way that the oscillations work is they'll come in, compact, get really intense, and then expand. Come in, compact, get really intense, expand, just like a star. It compacts, it expands, it compacts, it expands. That's the oscillations of the vibrations. And that's what's happening in this magnetic field. And the longer that we're able to be within the presence of that field, we match it with our awareness, it fortifies and strengthens. So this is what's happening. And the stronger our heart field, the higher the magnetic quote unquote reality, the higher the currents and the higher the maintaining of the higher design, if you will, or the higher template. It requires a very, very, very strong, very powerful heart field. Not just being in the heart, but this field of magnetism that's felt, right? And you exist there. So I can definitely feel it. Very intense. So it stopped raining, and I'm going to take this opportunity to started just as I started saying. Either way, I'm still going to go ahead and shift and energetically shift to the other cabin. I thank you so much. Again, Lori and everyone else that's been here. I know I love coming together in these lives. I don't put a time limit on it just because I love just coming in and suspending time and just coming into the experience of everything that's here and just allowing whatever that experience is and just simply allowing the receiving of all. So thank you for coming in and receiving with me. It is always such a joy and a pleasure, and I am so grateful and honored to have others that choose to do the same. So, okay, love you, and I look forward to seeing you in the one-on-one soon. Love you, my dear, and let us go finish being. We will transfer the energy now back into our solo realities, if you will. Thank you for coming together in this oversoul experience, because that's exactly what this is we convene as a set of energies that synergetically feeds the experience and also simultaneously is holding the sovereignty of the experience, because only you can hold the experience of you. So thank you for receiving. And I look forward to the next one. I will be bringing out, now I'm bringing these through very often for my group space, but what I am going to start bringing through, still the lives, of course, but I am going to start bringing through in between these like 15 minutes recorded tones to provide as like tools in between these sessions to assist and support and balancing, purifying, aligning, and to just listen to assist and support your vibrational existence. And you can use them for whatever the intention is, or you can simply just allow. And I feel like that's you. I feel like honestly, we want to do everything with intention and with purpose. But if the intention is to receive the highest and just allowing that to be the intention, then we can just simply meet in the experience of allowing the energy to support in whatever way is highest and greatest. And those will be coming through to support for those that maybe, you know, would like a little something to support in between, or maybe don't feel called to tune into the lives because some, I know, have a perception that these are too long. But, you know, hey, if you choose that perception, then you could also just miss out on an experience. You don't have to come in for the whole thing. You can come in for whatever parts of it is aligned to you. So it's always here, and it's always here to support. So I will be bringing those through. I do have some spaces open and available in my space if anyone is interested. And I will have a monthly activation coming through. Again, those are a bit more powerful than these. And now that I am understanding even more so of the carrying, the holding, and the allowing at this capacity, when we come together in that space, especially because you have chosen to invest, that reverberation is felt. And of course, I am very grateful for it. But that reverberation intensifies. So I'm not for sure the quote unquote date for this month yet, but I will be releasing that soon. And if you're interested, those are same thing every month, $66 on Zoom. There will be a replay. So once I am guided into where we're all connecting energetically, then I will put that out there. So if anyone is interested, you can let me know. You can send me an email, or you can reach out on Instagram. And if you'd like to just go ahead and invest in that, I'm definitely bringing it through like I do every month. And we can gather in Zoom and build a collective pod of experience, which is extremely powerful, especially because we're coming in with the intention, the investment, and the energy, which creates an extremely powerful foundation. And they're growing with intensity every single month. I mean, it's pretty remarkable. It's just the one last month was in 2 segments because it was so powerful. So if you'd like to join, it's 90 minutes. And if there is a second segment, I will let everyone know. For those that want, no extra charge, of course, but for those that would like, just like today, to remain for the second segment, then you will have 2 recordings and you will have a lot there. So, yeah, that's all I have. So thank you all so much. I love you. And I look forward to next time. So until then, I don't know.